So this is a video response for the naysayers. I have people telling me that there's nothing special about this technology, but I completely beg to differ. It's a Tesla coil constructed nearly perfectly to the way Tesla would have wanted. The Tesla coils people build are not built correctly. They are giant, tall, skinny, untuned spark-making machines, which is not what a Tesla coil was designed to do. It was designed to send power over very long distances at over 100% efficiencies. And the reason it's over 100% efficiencies, like I've said in my last videos, we're at high frequency, superconducting conditions with high frequency power, and the energy rides along the surface of the earth. And I'm filming with my light on so you can see everything. The transmitter is on in my room. I have it in high power mode. We're about 500 feet away. The transmitter is consuming probably about 35 to 40 watts. And I'm in my solar shed, which is completely off grid. All the breakers are off. Everything is off. Everything is off. There's nothing on. The off-grid inverter is off. It's electrically dead in this shed. I have my receiver coil, which is dimly lit. It's dimly lit just from the graphite antenna. And this other wire, this blue wire, goes... Hopefully you can see this. This blue wire goes to an antenna I constructed right outside. You can see it hanging. That's my antenna. It's isolated on a piece of two pieces of PVC. The isolation is very important. There's the antenna. That other tan wire is up there from past experiences. It has no purpose in this experiment. That wire is not connected to anything. The antenna is the blue wire. Like I said, completely off-grid solar shed. There's no mains power here. No one can claim this effect is coming from the mains. There is no mains power here. Move this higher up, and the coil will get light brighter. And there we go. This light is now lit brighter, just from elevating it higher. You can see that, clear as day. I moved all the shit that was here so you can see it better. We are lit between an elevated plane of graphite and the antenna, the blue antenna. There can be no doubt whatsoever, no argument. And for people who say this technology isn't spectacular, well, they're just in denial. They can't accept different forms of telluric power transmission. Here's a peek inside the coil. Here's a peek inside the graphite. I have no hidden batteries anywhere. As you see, holding this puts the light out, because I'm grounding out the antenna, which is killing the effect. So this effect is not coming from mains. It is coming from the graphite antenna. What I learned is that certain materials, when in the field of a Tesla coil, can receive and radiate tremendous amounts of radiant energy just from being in the field of a Tesla coil. And that's worth another matter of study. And another matter of study is amplifier stones and crystal radio sets. So, this video is for all the naysayers. I can also take my most sensitive receiver here, which is just an LED soldered to two RF diodes, 1N4148RF version. That's very important. I can connect this to hit the graphite, and it will light. Can you see that? If I make good contact, it should light. And when I do this, there's no degradation of that light either. So in theory, I can create unlimited wireless lighting anywhere I want. This actually gets brighter because I'm better grounding it. I have my whole system of ground rods here that I did from past experiments. If I were to connect this to the coil as well, it would probably get even brighter. I'm not sure if I should show that in this video because I'd have to put the camera down, take all these leads, connect them to make them long enough to reach. And people always hate it when I put the camera down and they say I'm faking things, so I'm not putting the camera down in this video. Like I said, you can see, here's the graphite antenna. It just sits up here to elevate it higher. This is my old blast furnace because I used to be involved with metal melting. And it's lit. And I can also light this. Instead of the graphite antenna, I can light this between the blue antenna, which you saw outside, and those ground connections. Very heavy grounding connection. So that shows that. And again, the transmitter is on in my room, over 500 feet away. My friends and I and other members of the research group confirmed the range up to 2,000 feet away. We're keeping some things secret and some video footage classified. We'll be selling for a lot of money. Some of the effects from the transmitter show absolutely mind-bending phenomenon you would not believe, and we will be selling that footage for a lot of money because it doesn't exist anywhere unless it's in some government lab somewhere. And again, I will disconnect the antenna. It goes out. I will disconnect the, I disconnected the graphite antenna and the other antenna, the blue antenna. I'll connect it to this just so it doesn't fall. Here's the coil. And it's important to know I have receiver coils that are so sensitive I can get them tuned in and to light all by themselves when the transmitter is completely off. I showed that in my earlier videos where I'm walking around at night holding a receiver coil, and it has to be a very starlit night for this to work. I walk around with my most sensitive receiver coil just under a starlit night and they will light up. So there's absolutely some form of magnetic resonance energy coming from the stars themselves, and it can absolutely be captured. So again, that's out. In graphite, it absolutely plays a remarkable role in receiving this energy. I can just touch this here and it will light. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's lit. It's lit. The light on my phone is kind of messing with things, but I'm filming it with the light on so you guys can have a clear picture of what's going on and you can see everything. There can be no ifs, ands, and buts or complaints that anything is being faked in any way. My research group and I have devoted years of our work to get this far. We wouldn't fake anything. We don't waste our time faking anything. So again, I will connect the antenna, which is the blue wire. As you can see, the antenna, I'll connect it back up to the coil. I believe we were connected here. You have to connect it in a certain spot for it to work. There we go. We are back on. And again, this is being powered from the transmitter in my room. That's 500 feet away. And when these lights run, there is no power draw on the transmitter. So when you're far... Whoops, that fell. When you're far enough away from the transmitter and you properly ground your system, your wireless receivers, there is no electrical drain placed on the transmitter. The earth is what would be running your load. So again, you can see inside. Good look at, it's just a receiver coil cut to a quarter the wavelength of what the transmitter is giving off, which was 2 megahertz. And when you put the ball, the dielectric antenna, the ball on top of the transmitter, you lower the frequency by a bit because it's a large capacitance. So the transmitter went from 2 megahertz, you add the ball, it goes to about 1 megahertz. And again, look inside of here. I can place this just here and it will still light. You can see that it's lit dimly. It is lit dimly. So, just between the graphite antenna, seems the higher you put it, I'm going to close this thing so it's higher. Seems like the higher you put it, the brighter the light gets, which you can see. So, that shows that. I will take this little receiver and touch it to different pieces of metal and see if it lights. Certain metals it lights up much brighter on than others. See if it lights on our solar junction box. Nope, nothing. Not lit. So it's the material itself that's playing a key role, and you can really see that it's lit now from way back here. So that shows it. That about ends this video, and I'm not sure what is like in front of my camera. There's like a piece of flap from my case that keeps like getting in the way of the camera because this case is pretty beat up on my phone. As you can see, that's lit. So that shows that test. This video is going to end now. Again, here's the antenna, and I heavily explained in past videos how it works. I'll just sum it up. So far we discovered, well, not just us, but so far people in general, which is kept suppressed, have discovered over 300 different forms of electricity. There's a lot more than just AC and DC, which most people don't know. So we're using the Tesla style of electricity, which is pulsed DC. And the theory behind a correct Tesla transformer is you can receive wireless power and communications instantaneously at any range. You could be receiving power and communications on a different planet from a transmitter on Earth. And the reason for that is it's believed and theorized, and this isn't me saying this, this is Tesla himself and the ancient electrical engineers of old, of the past, who gave us our entire modern world. They theorize that with this type of technology, the transmitted energy vanishes into the dimension of counter space. And when you build a receiver properly, you rip open counter space again and you tap back into that energy. And in the process, there's energy anomalies. So that explains how you can have instant energy transfer faster than the speed of light, along with communications. You're transmitting your energy into the dimension of counter space, and your tuned receiver extracts that energy again from the dimension of counter space, and there's no travel time in between. So that sums it up. Another good analogy is if I send a signal with traditional electricity, it'd be the equivalent of me flicking a rope, kind of like this. I'll demonstrate it with this. So I'm sending an AC signal, right? It has a finite travel time. I flick the rope. But if I use the Tesla form of energy transmission and I tug this, I'm tugging this. The other end feels it instantly. So that about sums it up, and this work is based off of Eric Dollard, Ken Wheeler, Nikola Tesla, Oliver Heaviside, Maxwell, all the titans that came before us. And thank you. That about sums it up and ends the video, and thank all those who support us.